In a world of chaos, you have the power to unlock a time-warping version of our show with a peek behind the scenes and even more Nathan and Chrissy banter.
That's right. When you become a member of the most excellent 80s movies podcast at truestory.fm, you get episodes 1 week early.
Plus, each episode has bonus content for your listening delight and amusement that you can't get anywhere else.
And you can hop onto the truestory.fm Discord to join the conversation there too, where we chat about our show and all the other shows that truestory.fm has to offer.
So be a hero to this podcast and a hero to your ears. Go to True Story FM today, click on our show page, and become a member.
And when you're out there in the world, be sure to keep the most excellent 80s movies podcast motto in mind. Be excellent to each other and party on,
dudes.
Before we dive in, here's another show you can enjoy in the True Story FM family of entertainment podcasts.
In a world where podcasts are a dime a dozen, one show dares to stand out from the rest.
The Film Board, a podcast unafraid to tell it like it is.
We're here for one reason and one reason only. Downloads.
That's right. We review new release movies because that's what gets people's attention.
But just because we're in it for the clicks doesn't mean we don't take our job seriously.
We're part of the Next Reel family of film podcasts, and we're proud of it.
Our reviews are just as insightful and thought-provoking as any of our other film podcasts.
It's just that this podcast is all about that sweet, sweet SEO.
The nectar squoze from the tree of Bing.
We're only human, but we're also creators.
And creators eat clicks to survive.
So if you want honest, unfiltered opinions on the very latest movies right on opening weekend,
delivered with the self-awareness of a team looking for downloads,
then tune in to the Film Board,
where every download counts, but yours counts the most.
Do you like movies?
Do you like sports?
I never played that sport on the screen, but I really enjoyed how the movie made me feel.
Well then, have we got a show for you. The Adrian Moment is where my friend Ocean and I discuss the triangulation of sports, movies, and life.
We dive deep into the movies, discussing how they relate to and have affected our lives.
We will talk about why the sport matters to the movie, why you don't have to love the sport to enjoy the movie, and mine a few nuggets of meaning inside the story you may not have realized was really there.
After listening to our show, come join us for more conversations about the movies that portray the thrill of victory
and the agony of defeat.
Find the Adrian Moment podcast on your favorite podcast app and join us while we cover the sports you love and the ones you never think about.
You will never see sports or sport movies the same again.
Hello and welcome to the most excellent 80s movies podcast. It's the podcast where a filmmaker, a comedian, and their fabulous guests look through the 80s movies we think we love or might have missed with these, our modern and steel yet delicate eyes. And today we're talking about Steel Magnolias, a movie selection from 1989.
Here we go! I don't want to have to kill you.
Don't you threaten me, Drum Eaton.
Drum would never, ever point a gun at a lady.
Your husband is a boil on the butt of humanity.
TriStar Pictures presents...
Well, this is it. You're finally rid of me.
Sally Field.
I think you'll be back every now and then.
Dolly Parton.
How's your family?
Louis brought his girlfriend home, and the nicest thing I can say about her is all her tattoos are spelled correctly.
Hi, Miss Weaver. Ugh, leave me alone.
Shirley MacLaine.
I'm not crazy, Malin. I've just been in a very bad mood for 40 years.
Daryl Hannah.
Miss Trudy, I swear to you that my personal tragedy will not interfere with my ability to do good hair.
Olympia Dukakis.
Looks like two pigs fighting under a blanket.
Julia Roberts.
I'm gonna make you very happy.
I want a child of my own. Your poor body has been through so much. Why would you deliberately do this to yourself?
Diabetics have healthy babies all the time.
You are special, Shelby.
Time has made them close. Life.
She's gonna have a baby. Go get a doctor.
Has made them friends. Steel Magnolias. The funniest movie that will ever make you cry.
That's a really good tagline. The funniest movie that will ever make you cry. It's like a bold claim, and yet that would make me go see a movie.
Are you ready to cry?
Yes! But also laugh periodically throughout. Yes, also! Like, that's a whole genre all on its own.
Sure is.
Hi, I'm Chrissy Lenz, director of the Neighborhood Comedy Theater and podcast comedian. And that other voice you heard is filmmaker Nathan Blackwell.
Hi, I'm Nathan Blackwell. I don't know how to ever do these.
Filmmaker. Yeah. Don't worry. You're 6. You'll really catch on. And with us today, we have a very special guest, someone I've known for a very long time and done improv with, who is not only a multiple Emmy-winning producer of so many fabulous things, and the longtime girl boss of the Phoenix Film Festival.
Oh, yeah. Yes. I did that, too. I keep on forgetting all the stuff I've done. I was like, are you talking about me?
I am. And is now at the Valley Youth Theater, which is like the place for youth theater in Arizona.
It is.
Has churned out so much talent that people in the world have heard of.
I mean, I'm not going to drop any names here. Emma Stone, Kimiko Glenn, Charity Dawson, Max Crumb. I mean, I could go on, but I won't.
You know, of course. Why would you? Everyone already knows.
Jordan Sparks. But no. Let's keep going. Okay.
Love Jordan Sparks. Yes, Valley Youth Theater is where it's at. So I'm so excited for you to be here to talk with us about a film and a play, which crosses over.
Yeah, it's like both of my things. I'm Leanne, by the way. Did you say my name?
I didn't say your name.
No, I don't. I mean, maybe.
I just said lots of things about you and figured that people would read my mind and know that you are Leanne.
The woman who needs no introduction.
Like, that's Leanne Dolan. We know who she is. Let's get on.
Knows. Leanne, have you seen this movie? Is it a favorite of yours? Have you seen the play?
So, I was trying to think if I've seen the play. There was like this point where I went to like when I was in 6th grade. No, it wasn't out in 6th grade. So no, I haven't seen the play. I have seen the movie. Is it a favorite? I mean, we can talk about the movie itself. But I have seen the movie many times because, there was that whole point in like the late 80s, early 90s where they're like everything was Southern, and it was like you had to watch Southern movies. So, that whole point.
Like
so yes, I've
Driving
seen
Miss Daisy was like the pinnacle of that period.
Right.
Which actually, didn't it win the Oscar like in 89, 90?
Yeah, it did.
Probably.
I believe it did. We're gonna have to check that. But yeah. And when you were like, oh yeah, Steel Magnolias, I immediately thought of like my favorite scene from it. And then I was like, oh, wait, that's not Steel Magnolias. That's Fried Green Tomatoes.
That's Fried Green Tomatoes.
Yeah. I told someone that that I was going to be watching Steel Magnolias. She goes like, oh, that's the one with where Deborah Winger dies at the end. It's like,
no. That's Beaches.
No, that's Terms of Endearment, isn't it?
Terms of Endearment.
I got it wrong. Trying to correct you on what it is. Yeah, it is the genre of movie, like funny, heartwarming movie, but you will cry because we will try to make you cry as like.
Oh yeah.
Right. Let me make some predictions. There's going to be troublesome family.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Some people disagree about how others should proceed with their lives. There's some weirdos who enter into the picture.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but they all come together when someone dies, and then there's a baby, probably.
Yeah, probably.
And don't forget quippy older ladies.
Yes. Quippy, horny older ladies.
Yes, always. Quippy older ladies who need some.
I stand horny old ladies, so like I am here for it.
You're like, that's my goal in life. I don't know what you're talking about. If I could be a quippy old lady who's just there. Like going through the retirement home, we'll be good.
Oh hell yeah! And I want to also solve mysteries. So if we're taking orders,
okay, that's a whole nother genre.
Just for an update, Rain Man won the Best Picture in 1989.
Okay.
But Driving Miss Daisy was right up there. But yeah, Rain Man took it home.
I think Driving Miss Daisy was 1990.
1989.
No, for the Oscars.
Oh, for
That
the
would be the
Oscars?
1990 Oscars.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
cool. Driving Miss Daisy.
so it's delayed by one. If it came out in 89, then it's the 90s Oscars.
Then it's the 90s Oscars. Yep.
Mhm.
62nd annual. And Daniel Day-Lewis won for My Left Foot, and Denzel Washington won for Glory, and Jessica Tandy won for Driving Miss Daisy, and Brenda Fricker won for My Left Foot. What a year!
What a year! What a year for feet.
For feet and driving.
And driving.
So this movie is like, we usually talk through the like movie sort of chronological, but chronological. But this movie is like in seasons. So we start with the season of Shelby's wedding, and it's like a young, fresh, adorable, gigantic smile Julia Roberts, who is getting ready for her wedding day. And she says at some point that the wedding's at 2, but the sheer amount of what they accomplish in the day before the wedding is shocking.
Yeah, I felt like, that first shot where like Daryl Hannah is walking, first of all, props to the costume department for finding glasses to put on Daryl Hannah so we could disguise her as like, she's not the most beautiful person in the entire world. She's really nerdy and ugly. We put glasses on her. She's like walking through the town and she sees like all of this stuff, this hubbub going on at the house. And like, that must have been at like...
I detect a hubbub.
Yeah, there's a hubbub. That must have been at like 6 a.m, right? Yeah. Because all of that stuff happens before the actual wedding. So, all the champagne glasses are broken and the...
And Tom Skerritt is shooting birds out of a tree.
I mean,
that really stressed me out.
Yeah.
You and the dog.
Yeah. Uh-huh. And the brothers. So the father of the bride, and the 2 little brothers of the bride are all like determined to get these birds that like are doing no one any harm. We just assume they might poo on someone, even though there's a tent. But there's a tent.
I mean, that's the ultimate in 80s movie logic, is that we need something for the man to do here, the ineffectual man, as all men are in this movie, pretty ineffectual.
I have experience in being the ineffectual man.
Oh, congratulations. You should have been in this movie, Nathan. Yeah. Because like the men were seriously there because it was like, you know what, we can't just not put a man in this movie. It can't just be all ladies.
And the play itself has no men.
The play is only the 6 women, and it isn't it only in the beauty shop? Like the whole play is only in the beauty shop?
I believe so. I don't know. I'm not sure about that, but yeah, I mean, it's only the 6 women. There's no men in it. And so when you're making a Hollywood movie, you have to put men in it. I'm surprised they didn't just
they had to put dogs in it too.
Yes, of course, men and dogs.
Yeah,
that's the number one movie.
The interesting thing is that so I was fascinated just watching like the adaptation from a play to a movie, because it actually was written by the same guy who did the play, the screenplay, which is rare. Yeah. So the screenplay was actually written by the same person, and just like expanding, like I'm sure they had long dialogue, about talking about their relationship with their husband and how he's always creating a mess and things like that. And now they get to actually like visualize some of these stories or things that they talked about, kind of like the expanded universe of actually getting able to see things outside of the beauty parlor.
Mm-hmm.
Were there times, Nathan, just like from filmmaking perspective, like were there times where you're like, oh yeah, this was a play?
Oh yeah, 100%. It's like when they all, so obviously when there's a lot of like exposition in their dialogue where they're talking about like who's relation to who, or they're sussing out like other people's backstories, but it's almost always when everyone is together and just kind of like, like there was a scene where they were all gathered around the car, and it was and them they were doing like the Easter eggs in the car, and just all of them each having a moment and having their asides, and it's like, oh yeah, this totally was a moment from the play.
Yeah. I felt that when when Julia Roberts was describing her wedding, and she's like, oh, and my reception is going to be like this. And it's just like, boy, I could literally be watching a play right now, which is like, it's actually one of my least favorite genres, movies or plays that are turned into movies but still feel like plays. That's a genre in and of itself.
It's so tough. You've got to still kind of like, be faithful to the original material, but yet how do you make it so people aren't just talking about everything that's going to happen instead of seeing it?
Right.
Well, is there a difference between like, I mean, in the viewer's experience, between like if you see like Hamilton, it's just like, nope, this is a play, we put a camera here, we put a camera here, we put a camera here, you're seeing the stage, we're not pretending that we're in these places, you're seeing the stagecraft, versus like, no, it's a real world, and now not only is there a beauty parlor, there's also a backyard.
Yeah, I mean, you see that a lot, and I did feel it here. Like, clearly, when they were in the beauty parlor all together, it's like that was probably just like ripped from the stage performance.
And that was the best part, I felt, because that's when you get all of the women really being the characters that you signed up for, which is like Dolly Parton and her never-ending quips, which, I had a lot of Southern lady great aunts and stuff who were just full of all of these sayings where you're like, did you take a class? Was there a class? Where you just like have to go through a little book and like, so you have everything like memorized. I remember one time my Aunt Edith yelled at my father and said, Mr. Stewart, if you point that thing at me, you better hope it's made of chocolate or it's your size, because you're going to either eat it or wear it. And I was like, how did she just have that in her back pocket?
That's amazing.
How did she know? And like, so the gentleman who wrote the play clearly found the textbook from Southern Lady Quips 101.
I think it was like, I think they shot it in like his hometown. So I think like it's a lot of it. I read that a lot of it was like based off of his sister, and it was for his sister who mirrors Shelby's predicament in the whole thing. And but yeah, it was based on his hometown. So I'm sure he had a lot of those ladies that can pull a quip out
and just be ready with it. Like,
just be ready with it.
Even if I wrote it down in a journal, I have to be like, oh, now here's an opportunity.
We're moving to Louisiana. We've got to start doing our homework and practicing our quips.
Yeah. You have to practice your quips. You're like, are you going to eat that or point it at me? No!
I messed it up. That was my opportunity and I let it go by.
I'm the worst Southern lady ever.
Yep. But all these Southern ladies are like, well, not all, but some of them are very, very rich and wealthy and fancy and run this town. And then some of them are like blue collar, here to do your hair for a living and, wear Daryl Hannah disguise glasses. And then Shelby is like the person from the next generation. So in 1989, she's going to take us into the 90s with her forward-thinking ideas. Although, we're just skipping way ahead, surprisingly, this film has not terrible attitudes toward gay people. Was anyone else surprised?
Oh my god! I mean, we could, like, it's, first of all, the fact that, like, so the quip, right? The quip is that you know that somebody is gay when they have track lighting and are named, what is it, Mark, Steve, or somebody.
Yeah.
But like, and everyone's like totally, the ladies are totally cool with it, but that's always how it's been, right? It's always been like the ladies are like, yeah, you want to be gay, whatever, I don't really care, that's fine. But the men have always been like, ah. So
Very own.
yeah. So yeah. But I thought that was really cute as a lady who grew up. Mark Ricker Steve. Mark Ricker Steve is equals gay. Track lighting and the name Mark Ricker Steve, and that equals gay.
Yeah,
So,
which would be really hard for anyone who works in a gallery or someplace where track lighting is a necessity.
Yeah.
I guess you hire a Mark, a Rick, or a Steve. So
might as well.
Yeah.
Well, it's a small town.
But in addition to the seasons of these women's life, we start with the spring, right? The wedding, and we learn in that the scene of this movie that Julia Roberts is diabetic, and that she has that it's very serious because she's like having a great time talking about blush and bashful.
Blush
her
and
wedding
bashful.
colors. Pink and pink.
Pink
One
and
shade is much deeper. And then all of a sudden she's like shaking and out of control, and she has to drink her juice, Shelby.
Drink the juice, Shelby. Drink the juice, Shelby.
I've got candy. No, she needs juice.
She needs juice. This is the kind of diabetes that doesn't do candy. It does juice.
It does the juice. And she's very, very sick. And like the mom is saying she shouldn't work after she's married. She's a nurse, but she shouldn't stay on her feet because she's so ill that if she doesn't drink juice regularly, she could go into insulin shock and have very serious consequences. And also in that whole before the wedding of this movie, we learn that she is told she shouldn't have children and that Dylan McDermott wants to marry her anyway and that they will likely adopt. But you can tell, right? You can tell.
Yeah, we know what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But so I'm not very familiar with diabetes types or anything. The Julia Roberts seizure that she has in the beauty parlor was like, I don't know, I guess it was kind of frightening, but also kind of strange. Like, do diabetics have like those kind of like where they're like, drink the juice, Shelby, and she's like pushing it away and shaking and I like, is that a thing that happens?
Yeah, that's a great question. She also was like, stop it, mama, you're embarrassing me, when it's like, well, you are having a seizure.
Yeah,
and we're
you're
all
having
just trying to help.
Right. And then like all of a sudden, because you're diabetic, you go into this like extra reality space where it's like all the people who are trying to help you aren't trying to help you. They're there to embarrass you and not give you juice. And so we're going to push the juice away. But yet, like, I don't know. I don't know enough about it.
I took it as a source of like Steel Magnolias. They're all very tough, but yet she is very fragile. Her body is fragile, and so it's like when she goes into a seizure, she's angry that it's happening, that this reality is coming up, that it's happening. It's like her whole arc is that she's going to live the way she's going to live despite her limitations, despite her weaknesses,
Right.
And so I feel like it's more of her angry, it's like she wants to have the perfect life. She wants to have the perfect wedding. She's going to have kids. She's going to do what she's going to do,
Right.
And so
and I did read that the movie got somewhat criticized for being like very worst case scenario of like type 1 diabetes. Like this is like all heightened past a 10, worst case scenario on top of worst case scenario.
But it's based off of a real story, right?
Exactly. It's based on this guy's lived experience.
Yeah. Also, as a fellow Nine Inch Nails fan, Chrissy, wasn't that I don't know if you remember it, but when she was having the seizure, it was very like Trent Reznor scored it when she's having the seizure. I was sitting here going like, did Trent and Atticus score this part? Because it's like dun dun dun. I was like,
we could look at the credits, I guess.
They didn't, clearly.
But maybe it inspired them because their film work is now what we all know them for.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they can't just say that they were inspired by Steel Magnolias.
Right.
It could be true.
Yes, it could be true. But they really
is that?
super metal to be inspired. If you're Trent Reznor and being like, yeah, my biggest inspiration was A, heroin, and B, Steve Magnolias.
Those two things.
But they really upped the like, you know, the severity of it with this like very dramatic music, this like huge seizure. She's like clearly messed up her hair. And then when she comes out of it, she's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." Like it was this. I just felt everything was just like really big.
Oh yeah,
and obviously clearly played for the played for the drama of the scene.
Yeah. I thought the fighting between Sally Field and Julia Roberts in the beginning wedding scenes, to me on this viewing, was a little over the top. I was like, wow, you are kind of being a dick, Julia Roberts. Like, calm down, Shelby. She's like, you told Daddy to get the birds out of the tree. This is your fault that he's out there shooting on the tree.
Right.
And it's like, what? She's also,
you should have drowned my brothers. What?
What?
Really? Was it your wedding day and they're like, teenage boys? We should have drowned them?
Well, they are kind of dicks. Yeah.
Yes.
But
well,
she's
again,
also, like,
ineffectual men.
Bridezilla. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, and let's just stop for a moment. Sally Field is like the MVP here. Like, she is like Julia Roberts. She won the Oscar for her performance, but I feel like Sally Field is really the one that is killing this movie, like in a good way.
She's definitely, and especially at the end. Not that we'll talk about it later, but especially that monologue at the end, where she goes through 87,000 different emotions in the span of like 2.5 seconds, and you're like, oh, that was some.
She's the one. Turns out she's pretty good at acting.
She ends every take with acting.
Acting, thank you.
That's how it's done.
She should do it professionally.
She should. She's so great. Although my 16-year-old daughter kept being like really confused about how Sally Field was supposed to be Julia Roberts' mom. She's like, wait, that's the mom of this character? She kept trying to make it somebody else. Like, I'm like, no, she just, they're Southern women. They have their babies young.
Right.
But you could even see the difference in Sally Field from the initial all the different stops for her in this movie. Oh, it's my daughter's wedding. We're not going to fuss over her because she had a insulin shock seizure. She's just sad she can't have a baby. Oh, wait, she is going to have a baby. This is bad times. But thankfully, all my lady friends are here to help me focus on the joy. And then when you know later at the beauty shop that they're about to do a kidney transplant, and she's accepted it. She can joke about it. She's accepted it. She's gone through it all. And we got to go through it with her, which is like so lovely. And Sally Field, man, is amazing. Julia Roberts is amazing, but like the supporting cast of women are also pretty great. You got
Dolly Parton.
No,
I mean, come on.
Dolly Parton. We talked about Daryl Hannah. We've got Olympia Dukakis and Shirley MacLaine, all in there kicking in their 2 cents.
And then all of our ineffectual men.
Yes. Yeah. Tom Skerritt and Sam Shepard.
Sam Shepard. What?
Yeah.
Sam Shepard.
Yes. That's crazy that he's in this movie to me.
Sam Shepard is Spud.
He's so depressing. He's such a depressing character who like doesn't want to go do anything with like vibrant, wonderful Dolly Parton.
You got to be pretty depressed, right? You got to be pretty depressed to be like, you know what, Dolly Parton, you are not cheering me up.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I
Your
won't
quips
go to
can't
a
do it
picnic.
for me. I will not go to a picnic with you. I will not go to a wedding. He didn't go to the wedding.
Yeah.
Spud was not at the wedding. How could you not go to the wedding with Dolly Parton? The blush and bashful wedding of the century.
So much pink at that wedding, and so many bridesmaids, and so much hat. It was glorious.
So much hat.
You got to go to that, Sam Shepard. Write a play about it.
Also, can we talk about the armadillo?
Yes, please.
I mean, to miss that groom's cake is a shame. The groom's cake that was made by Aunt Kathy?
something like that. The aunt of
Aunt Fern.
Dermot, the aunt of the husband, makes an armadillo cake with gray frosting and red on the inside, so it really does look. And when we see it at the wedding, they've cut off the arms and the legs.
I was like, this is truly horrifying. Yes, absolutely.
Well, you don't want to go snout down.
You don't want to go snout down. I'm going to put that on a shirt, by the way. Don't go snout down.
Don't
ever go snout down.
You go leg.
Yeah. And then, drum gets the butt.
Yes, because Shirley MacLaine and Tom Skerritt have this ongoing rivalry where, and she has a rivalry with everyone apparently, Weezer, which this movie is the first time I ever realized. I always assumed it was Weezer, like the band.
Nope.
It's. I had the sound translation on. What was that? Closed captioning. Closed captioning. Yep. And it kept spelling it Weezer, like Ouiser, like she's French. And then I realized it's because her name is Louisa. That everyone calls her Weezer.
You know what? I never got the Louisa.
That's an airplane going right.
I never got it. I knew it was, but I knew it wasn't Weezer,
like the band.
Weezer. I knew it wasn't the band. I knew it was Ouiser, but I just thought it was, like how you spell Beau, Baux.
Right.
Because we're in the South.
We got to use extra letters. We got to use all the letters that our dad.
All the letters.
Well, God gave you all these letters. Surely we got to use them.
It also bothered me that her crazy dog, Weezer's crazy dog, is named Rhett, which obviously is Rhett Butler, right?
Correct. Because we're in the South.
And then she's like, I hate movies because they're full of naked people. Mm-hmm. I'm like, well, obviously you don't hate Gone with the Wind.
We do get naked people in this.
She is a big fan of buns.
There are naked people in this.
I know. I was like, and we didn't even get naked people in it, but we did get naked people in it.
Yeah, she's in a locker room, a sports locker room full of buns, using her little mirror to secretly spy on them.
I missed that part, Nathan.
Yeah. She pulls out her makeup mirror and she starts like rotating it to kind of look at the people behind her.
Yeah,
I missed that part. Mm-hmm.
She's into it, and it's all like, so the story underneath the story is just all these women trying to like live their lives, and so Dolly Parton has her depressed husband who won't go to a picnic, real bummer. Olympia Dukakis, whose name is Clary, is widowed by the former mayor of the town. Is that right?
Yeah. Clary Belcher, which is like unfortunate.
It is. There's maybe a Bob's Burgers connection way back.
Maybe.
They're the southern line of the Belcher family. Shirley MacLaine is like also widowed, but is like went the other way with it. So there's like the benevolent widow who like goes to the openings of parks and is at every event, and then there's the grumpy widow who's just been in a very bad mood for 40 years.
Mm-hmm. They're kind of like on opposite ends of the social ladder,
Right. But it's the same ladder because we learn that Weezer has more money than God. And that's the only reason why people talk to her. Chrissy, are you and I just going to like say lines from the movie in this weird accent that we have?
Yes, we are.
This weird accent that we're like making up as we go along.
Blush and pink is my signature color.
Blush and bashful.
It's so good.
But I'm an ineffectual male.
Oh,
where's your Nathan ineffectual male? Where's your accent? Where's your southern accent?
Where's my southern accent?
Okay, we're good. Okay.
If you can achieve puberty, you can achieve a past.
Yeah.
That's probably my favorite line in the movie.
Can we just say really quick, like obviously this is the 80s, but we see a total of 5 African American people, and 4 of them are
it's like, oh, I see one.
Mm-hmm, yeah, 4 of them are the servants in the Eastonton household, doing the preparations, and then one was evidently hired to be a professional dancer at the wedding, because we see him dancing quite a bit in the wedding.
Oh,
The
I didn't
wedding
even notice
footage.
that person.
Yes. So there is an African American attending the wedding.
And there is the
who's a
nurse
dancer.
at the very, very end
Right.
is a person of color, right?
Yes, and the nurse is African American as well. Yes, and that's it.
That's
I think.
it. I think
I don't
there
remember
is,
seeing.
I did spot one Asian person.
There's a baby
in
of
the
color at the Easter thing at the very end.
Yeah.
An
So-
unattended
Oh, okay.
baby.
And this movie
All
lost out to Driving Miss Daisy in the Oscars. So yeah, it was not the best time for representation.
Not at all.
And then the remake is an all-black cast.
Yes,
remake
the
of this
one.
movie.
Well, it was on
Yeah.
Lifetime, right?
Right.
Yeah.
There's a remake of this movie?
Yeah, a Lifetime version.
But it's like with amazing actors.
Oh.
And I'm not quite sure. Like, I believe it's Felicia Rashad. Is one of them. Look this up.
That's awesome. I like that. Makes me think of like Death at a Funeral, which was a play that became a movie that was all white people and then was redone with a
Queen
black
Latifah
cast.
was in
Is
it,
that
yeah.
correct? Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. I love it. Keep doing that. There's no reason why these have to be all white people. There's no reason at all.
Because I was also thinking about it, and like there is nothing in it that needs to be white people.
I think it does need to be Southern, but like even that could change. It's just about a small town, right?
Well, the one thing, because it was Southern, I didn't overly feel like I was watching an 80s movie. Because like it was already a period piece, being like it was a Southern piece.
Sure. Yeah, the dominant thing in your face was the Southern aspect.
Was the Southern, so I wasn't feeling like I was watching an 80s movie because like I could explain a lot of the costumes away because it was Southern, right?
Yeah.
So so it's not, like and like so I just kind of was like, oh yeah, it's a Southern movie. It's not really an 80s movie.
Yeah, there was a scene where the Weeza and Clary are buying food to feed the ineffectual men while the women are having their kidneys swapped, and she just is buying so much food, and my daughter was like, oh, okay, I get it. So the Southern women are just like old Italian grandmas. They have to feed you. Or they can't function. It's like, yeah, that's the only way they know how to cope with trauma is to feed you and feed you and feed you. And the men men can't cook and they like pork and beans.
Right. They can open a can.
Exactly.
She bought like tons of meat, and by the way, she just threw the meat into the cart without putting it in a bag first, which like to me is disgusting. But whatever, it was the 80s. We lived dangerously.
She threw the beans on top of it. Like
she could have punctured that plastic in the that's what I think about.
Cross-contamination happening.
Cross-contamination.
So after the kidney transplant, so Julie Roberts does have a baby, and then she really has done it now, and her kidneys are kaput. She gets a Sally Field kidney, and everything seems to be fine, but of course it's not. On Halloween, she falls down and dies.
Well, we didn't talk about the big transition in Julia Roberts' life, which is the fact that she cuts all of her hair off.
Yeah, that's a big and isn't that a cliche that like once women get married and have kids, they cut off their beautiful hair, which they use to lure you?
Right. Yes, they lured you in with the hair.
I gotcha.
Now I will cut off the hair.
Yeah. And now that she's the wife of a very rich Louisiana lawyer, she can cut it all off. I thought she looked like Jean Smart when she did it, like from the show that's on TV right now. I was like, this is not a look for her.
Yeah, it's as a woman who has worn a variation of the pixie cut her whole life, it's like it's not for everybody. Don't try and come into our pixie cut territory, Julia Roberts. You don't belong here.
You gotta know if you can pull it off. Like Chrissy, you can pull it off. I cannot. There's no way in a million years I can pull off a cutie patootie pixie cut. Julia Roberts and I have something in common there.
Yes, absolutely.
We have something in common.
but I really do love the scene where she's like, I don't know what I think of it. I don't know what I think of it. I don't know what I think of it. Sally Field says she likes it. I'm fine.
I'm okay. I'm okay with it
Although
then.
I bet Jackson had something to say about it when she got home. Like, I'm sure he was like, look, we'll focus on the kidney thing for now, but we're going to talk about the hair.
Yeah.
But we're circling back.
Yeah.
You can grow it out. Like, that's my thing. Oh, well, you can grow
hair
it
grows.
out. Hair grows. And I don't feel like it's low maintenance.
No.
No. She's like, I wanted a low maintenance hairstyle. And I was like, honey, that is going to take you. That's not just like throwing gel in it and going.
Low maintenance is just a hair tie, you know.
That's long hair. You put it up in one of those clips.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one of those,
I know you all can't see this right now, but I literally have my hair in a ponytail.
Yay.
It is in a ponytail. Done. You too, Nathan, I see.
It's the easiest.
I used to have a ponytail in high school. Yeah.
It's the easiest way. And, yeah, you're teasing that, you're blow drying it, you're doing as much as possible. And she like envisions this life for herself. And Julia Roberts does say, or Shelby says she'd rather have 3 minutes of wonderful and rather than a lifetime of nothing special. And it's like, okay, but you don't, it doesn't have to be a go big or go home situation. Like,
yeah,
you could maybe have taken better care of yourself and had a lifetime of wonderful. Why is that? Why is it either 3 minutes or a lifetime of nothing special? How about a lifetime of wonderful where you just like drink your juice, Shelby?
Right, just drink your juice, Shelby. Just
and
drink
let
it.
People know, like she leaves the hospital and it's clear that she can tell she's not feeling well, and then she's like, oh, I'm gonna pick up my 2-year-old son, even though I know that I shouldn't be doing that. And then, okay, maybe don't do those things. Like, I get that you want to live like you don't have an issue, but this is the consequences that she falls into a coma. How long was she in that coma? Was it like a day, or did you get the impression it was like 3 days or a week?
I got a 3-day impression.
Okay.
I got a 3 or 4 day impression. I don't think it wasn't a day. I don't think it was as long as a week. But because it was Halloween, right? Because she's like, we're gonna go trick or treating, and then Jackson comes home, and you have, a crying, screaming baby. Mm-hmm. That was the only part of the movie that really affected me, was like when the baby is like on the ground screaming and then pointing outside, and Jackson is like, Shelby,
where are you?
Yeah,
where are you?
They dramatized that very well from the point of view of not of Julia Roberts, but of the people who are finding her.
Right.
And so you get 2 moments that are really well done back to back. You got Dermot Mulroney, not Mulroney, Dermot. Who's the other one? Dylan McDermott. Dylan McDermott comes home, finds the kid crying, sees like the food is boiling away, and and then it just pans over and she's lying unconscious, splayed out on the ground with the phone wrapped around her. Like, that's like the startling moment that we have of coming in and finding someone like passed out or dead. We kind of get that real experience, and then the next shot is Sally Field just walking down a long hospital corridor by herself, just kind of picking up steam. Yeah, and we feel her stress. We feel the anxiousness of what she's gonna experience.
I kind of also thought, like, in that walk, there was a little bit of like, I swear to God, when I see her, I'm going to yell at her because she was doing too much, and I knew she was going to do too much. I told her she was doing too much, and then now she's done too much, and she's done it, and she's put herself in a coma. Like, I felt like there was like that part of it too, so like, I agree. I think that like those 2 scenes were probably the most effective scenes in the entire movie, because because Sally Field said so much with her like determined / pissed / worried walk down that hallway. And that was really, really great.
That is such a good observation. Yeah.
Yeah,
she
her
says
heart
so
is
much.
breaking, but she's furious at her
She's
daughter.
furious.
You know?
She's like furious. Her heart is breaking. She's worried. She's like, you know, Sally Field, man. She
Sally
should do this
Field.
for a living.
She should. She's quite good. And then as soon as they pulled the plug on Shelby, the dad walks out, the husband walks out, and she stays. And then as soon as she emerges, it's like, we're gonna need this pink suit. You're gonna have to call this funeral home. Like, she's already in triage mode as the mom, and then she realizes she could be holding the baby, and she runs out to get the baby.
Right.
Because that's what she has left. And then we get that, like, the whole funeral scene is, we get as much setup to it as we do almost the wedding scene, but this time we get Sam Shepard, like, really dropping some science on us about how he feels bad for them. And it's like, wow, okay. And then that beautiful scene where the funeral's over, everyone's leaving, and all the women are like, nope, we gotta go have a big moment.
Yeah.
And they go have
their Academy
acting.
Award moment.
They do. And
we have to go have our Academy Award moment.
I love so Sally Field is being like, I'm so angry, I want to just hit someone and make them feel as bad as I do. And the Olympia Dukakis is like, hit Weezer.
Hit Weezer. Of course. And truthfully, like, yes, like, that's exactly what was needed in that. Like, I know, like, Weezer gets mad, but, like, that's exactly what was needed in that, because truthfully, like, so we see, Sally Field has this Academy Award winning moment where all of the grief that she's had, because what you just said, Chrissy, is true. She doesn't let it out when she's sitting there holding Shelby's hand while Shelby dies. She comes out, she's like all business. She's like, I gotta go find this baby. So she finds the baby, she holds the baby, but she has not let any of this out. And so she held it together for the funeral. And then, as if the rest of the ladies are like, she's has to lose it in a second here. We got to go help her. So they go over and they help her so she can lose it. And it's this just like explosion of anger and grief and understanding and not understanding and Academy Award winning material.
Yep. And even Daryl Hannah gets to have that lovely moment, which is so frustrating, but so real, of like trying to offer a religious, like.
Right. Oh, what a wonderful funeral. Here are my strong religious beliefs,
Right. I would have punched her. I would have just
Who's had that experience before?
Oh, yeah.
I have.
Yeah. I thought even like Tom Skerritt and Sam Shepard did some nice, very subtle, ineffectual man acting where they're like, oh, Sally Field is clearly struggling. Should I go? Olympia Dukakis and Dolly Parton are on it. I'll let them handle this.
They've got it.
They're not wrong.
They're not wrong.
By the way, did you notice that the flowers were blush and bashful?
I did, and it made me
happy. I was like, the flowers are blush and bashful.
And so that is this movie. Like, life goes on. They find Easter eggs. They're gonna tell Jackson,
and then the movie
story.
goes on for 10 more minutes.
It does.
Yeah. Well, okay. So, how blonde is Shelby's baby? That is not Dylan McDermott's baby.
No.
I'm sorry, but that is the blondiest little blondie of a little blondie kid.
It's Dermot Mulroney's baby.
Yeah, but that baby did not ever. But her younger brothers both are like complete towhead blondes.
That's true.
So what is it? It skips a generation, no matter.
Yeah.
Gregor Mendel would have something
Right.
to say.
There's a lot of it skips a generation conversations. I think in town, but in reality is probably a little different.
Yeah. So
and wait, can we talk really quick, like
Absolutely.
filmmaking wise, about the helicopter shot? Right? The last shot of the movie is a helicopter shot where, like, now it's a drone shot, right? But then, like, that they rented a helicopter for this last scene of them driving away. And so we get a helicopter with all of its like janky helicopter qualities, like can't keep the helicopter steady enough, so we have to end it on a freeze frame.
Yep.
But like just like filmmaking purposes, I'm like, thank God for drones now, because like
right, and stabilization in post-production.
Stabilization, which they did not have. I've also thought Daryl Hannah could do so much better than that guy. Like,
absolutely.
What's the Daryl Hannah, like, because we put her in glasses, all of a sudden she's like not beautiful anymore, and then like
I am not a fan of her journey. No, like she lost her glasses. She looked better in the glasses. She got super religious in people's faces. You know.
Well, that's because she was super slutty. She was super slutty, and then she got super religious.
For like an afternoon, though. For one season, from
she
Christmas,
went through the whole town in an afternoon.
To Christmas, and like, yeah, and then she has to be up in everyone's grill, like praying all the time. I agree. Like she seemed fun at the beginning, then more fun, then less fun, and then she stayed at a very low fun angle.
Right,
and it's like,
and then
you're
like
hanging out with Dolly Parton. You should find your way to a middle ground.
Right, and then like she meets emo bartender, and like is like, oh hey emo bartender, and he's like, hey, and then they're together the entire rest of the
until they get married and have a baby.
Until they have a baby named Shelby.
Shelby.
But
girl
like,
or boy,
she could do a lot better than emo bartender.
I agree. Like Shelby should have been like introducing her to some handsome lawyer cast-offs.
Right.
Know?
This is the junior partner at the firm that Jackson works at.
Shelby was very invested in Weezer getting together with the funny little man.
Man. Ineffectual, funny little man.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I completely agree with that. Of all of the women that we get to meet and know, she's my least favorite. Not Daryl Hannah, Annelle.
Annelle the character.
So what do you guys like? It's hard to rate this kind of movie, I think, because you're holding it up against Beaches, you're holding it up against Terms of Endearment, you're holding it up against Fried Green Tomato. It's like, this is that genre of movie. So on a scale of 1 glass of juice being the least good to 10 glasses of juice being a perfect laughter through tears movie, where do you put Steel Magnolias?
Yeah, that's a tough one.
It really is.
Yeah, you may have noticed I didn't have too much to say during this episode. Admittedly, I am not the target audience for this movie, although I enjoyed quite a bit of it. Like, like I wanted to give it the movie deserves. So this is based off of just like how it sits with me and like where it is for my own personal enjoyment. I think I'd probably give it a 6 out of 10. Just in terms of my, like, I know the movie is better than a 6, but that's in terms of like its value or entertainment value to me.
The movie is better than a 6?
I feel like it is, like, just the level of performances, and everyone involved. Like, I feel like its value is higher than my experience with it. But that's just my gut.
Okay, I see that. Like, the performances are a solid 8 glasses of juice, right? Yeah. But the movie itself sits much lower than that. So it probably
it's like a delivery vehicle for quips.
Right. Like there's a trailer of this movie that is literally just like Sally Field, Daryl Hannah, Julia Roberts,
and a terminal
Dolly
disease.
Parton, Olympia Dukakis, and Shirley MacLaine in Steel Magnolias. And that's it. Like that's the trailer, right? Mm-hmm. So we don't care what happens in it. The men are ineffectual. So the performances are 8, the ladies are 8, but like this movie's right down the middle of the 5. Like I finished it yesterday. I watched it again yesterday. I finished it. And I was like, yeah, that was Steel Magnolia. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like that's what you say about it.
Okay, I don't feel so bad then.
Yeah.
I like that assessment. I feel like that is a very like clean assessment of the quality of the movie and the quality of the performances. I'm going to cut the difference in the higher range because I also think that this movie is rewatchable and like scratches an itch that there aren't a lot of movies being made right now that scratch that same itch. So I think that I would sort of split the difference and say I give it a 7.5 because I think that it's still like my whole family came and watched this movie with me. Like I turned it on alone and was like sitting there alone, folding laundry and taking my notes. And slowly but surely, they all drifted in and said, "Oh, Steel Magnolias," and like sat down and like were eating popcorn and watching along. So
Well, it's definitely popcorny because of the quips, right?
absolutely.
Because you have your
Yeah.
like quippy, funny ladies. There's nothing really too racy in it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I give it.
Except,
I think I give it
except
an 8.
dude buns. Plenty of dude buns.
Except dude buns.
Buns. And so what about a deep cut recommendation? So like, I think this was tough for me to figure out what my deep cut recommendation would be. And I couldn't think of anything. I think Leanne was just giving hers. Is it Girls Trip?
No, it wasn't. Girls Trip
Oh,
is not my
darn.
deep cut. You know what? That's a because Girls Trip is definitely like if they remade Steel Magnolias, right?
Mhm.
What is it going to have to be in order for people to watch it? And it has to be Girls Trip. Like
Yeah.
that's where it has to go. But it's like Girls Trip with a bunch of old ladies, which is another movie.
Yeah.
But like so my deep cut, and I don't know how deep like we were gonna get if we were gonna like go like indie or whatever. But my deep cut is actually by the same screenwriter who talked to Sally Field and was like, what do you like what would you love to play? And she's like, I just want to be a mean woman that can wear amazing outfits. And so then he wrote Soap Dish for her.
Oh, that's such a good movie.
So Soap Dish is gonna be my deep cut. I know it's not that deep, but like
mine
Soap
is
Dish
less
is
deep.
my deep. Okay, good. Okay, that makes me feel better. So then
Yes.
So Soap Dish, because Soap Dish has the quips, right? It has the like funniness. You're not crying through tears, laughing through crying. That's none of that. But like, I just think I'm gonna go with Soap Dish.
That's
Awesome.
perfect. I love it. And what's yours, Nathan?
So mine is like, okay, so this is a type of movie. Like this is a movie about the lineage of a family, and I feel like my version of this movie is in terms of my sensibilities is Parenthood. You know, like
Yeah.
that is my personal taste, is just more on the comedy aspect, and I feel like then for me that's a backdoor to a deeper connection to the drama, you know? And there's not like the Oscar speech scene, you know, necessarily to where someone has died. Like, I mean, and if I had to go, you know, adjacent to that kind of thing, I'd say the Royal Tenenbaums. You know,
I love the Royal Tenenbaums.
but I'd say much more Parenthood is my
Yeah.
version of this kind of story of like the misfit families. We can't all get along. You know, the weirdos that we bring into our lives, and ultimately the story is just about the people rather than something.
Sure.
You know.
Both much better than mine. I'm going to recommend a website that you can shop at, which is called alwaysfits.com.
What?
Wait,
so
what?
Website for track lights.
It's for track lights. No, it's they sell gifts and home goods, and it's where I do the majority of my Christmas shopping. And they sell a movie poster that I love where you scratch off the top 100 80s movies. So that's where I found the website. But they have a whole line of glassware that says "Drink your juice, Shelby."
Okay.
And so you can buy a pitcher and a whole line of glassware that all say "Drink your juice, Shelby." And I just think, what a great icebreaker at your next women-only picnic.
I like it.
Okay.
Drink your juice, Shelby.
And I'll put a link in when I post the episode, but it's alwaysfits.com.
Alwaysfits.com. All right.
Yeah, I don't know why it's called that, because they really only sell socks, which would be something that would fit.
Always. Socks
Always.
always fit.
That's true. So we just solved the mystery.
I don't know why they called it this, because they only sell socks that always fit, but it's called alwaysfits.com.
Leanne, how can people support you and Valley Youth Theater? Tell us a little bit about how the people of the world can get involved at Valley Youth Theater.
Sure. Valley Youth Theater is really cool. We've been around since 1989. I actually was a Valley Youth Theater kid in 1991, not dating myself or anything, but it was a long time ago. We are online at vyt.com. We have some amazing programs. It's not just kids on stage performing, which we have that, and the shows are amazing, but we also do some awesome programs for our community, where we have reading programs for children in Title I schools. We have programs for children from all sorts of walks of life to give them their very first theater experience. We recognize the power of the transformational power of theater. And we believe that power not only helps kids grow up and be better actors, but we make kids better people.
Absolutely.
So you can learn more about us at vyt.com and come on out and see a show.
Yes, I highly recommend. They do amazing things out there.
Yeah, it's like professional quality theater, and the only difference is that, like, instead of the people on stage being adults, they're children.
Yeah, but they're doing as good a work. It's like so impressive.
Yeah.
And it's so great, as you said, Leanne, for kids to get like that kind of like professional quality experience at that age, because they just get that. It's like the Malcolm Gladwell 10,000 hours thing. They're starting so much further ahead.
Yeah. I mean, it really is like, if you tell a child like, oh, you're going to be in this, this show, but it's just not going to be as good as like the ones on Broadway or whatever, then the show isn't going to be as good as the ones on Broadway. But if you sit there and you tell kids like, this is going to be the best thing you've ever done, they're going to make it the best thing they've ever done. And like, if you sit there, and for a lot of kids, they really feel that theater is out of their reach, that like it's for other people, not for them. And sometimes children, they set their foot into a theater for the first time to see a play, and just this like aura of magic comes over them and their eyes get wide, and it's the most amazing thing you've ever seen. I love Valley Youth Theater for that. So anything, we're a nonprofit, so we love volunteers, we love donations, we love just coming down and seeing our shows. We love all of that.
Excellent. Absolutely. And so, Nathan, where can people find you?
Squishy Studios is the best place to check out our projects. We're not a nonprofit; we're an unprofit.
Yeah,
as many filmmakers are.
Exactly. Yeah, we don't make money. We make movies. That's our logo.
Yeah,
I
love it.
So yeah, if you want to check out our past stuff or check out stuff that's coming down the line, our web series Voyage Trekkers, a lot of people know, and then we're in post production on a feature film. It's not Voyage Trekkers; it's called The Last Movie Ever Made. And so yeah, they can, if they want to check us out, squishystudios.com or Facebook and Twitter. Technically, Instagram is I'm on more often.
and totally worth supporting. Very great stuff all around. And you can find me at the Neighborhood Comedy Theater in downtown Mesa, Arizona. You can listen to all of the Most Excellent 80s Movies podcast on True Story FM, and catch me on the Saturday Matinee podcast on True Story FM. And thank you so much, Leanne. It was so wonderful to have you.
Hey.
I wish I had a quip. The only quip I have to end my podcast is that while y'all are out there in the world, remember to be excellent to each other and to party on, dudes.
Party on, dudes.
Party on. Party on.